Hello. Okay, so just for uh, myself, Jitendra Gupta, I'm currently working for Wipro, and you can find me over in Medium and YouTube, and you can also scan the code for getting a large profile. Like I'm present in multiple other places as well. Okay, so yeah, okay. So far we have learned or even talked about DevOps, Kubernetes, ML operations, right? But the topic that I'm going to discuss now, that is on the foundation, right? So it is going to be on the landing zone and when to build it, the elements of landing zone and the best practices that you follow on the landing zone. But before that, about what is landing zone. Like anyone has any idea what is landing zone? In general, any like not specific to Google Cloud, but in general also, what is landing zone? Anyone? Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah, absolutely right. So landing zone is nothing but it's a foundation on which you are going to develop your resources or create your resources, right? Okay. So talking about this landing zone, it's like building a blueprint. So whenever you build a house, you are going to create a blueprint. You are going to go to the architect, and they are going to suggest you some recommendation. This is the best way you should be building based on the size or the kind of plot that you have, right? So according to similar approach, you actually also create a landing zone on any of the cloud provider or the any environment that you are going to work on. Okay. Okay. So here, I hope it's visual. Okay. So I'm going to take an example of a reference architecture to explain what is a landing zone or how it looks like when you are working on a Google Cloud environment. Okay. So if you see in this particular page, pointer, pointer, है क्या? Pointer, pointer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me see. Okay. In this reference architecture, if you see, here we have the on-premises environment. Okay, it is going to make a connection to the Google Cloud environment, right? This is your Google Cloud infrastructure, complete infrastructure that you build on which the applications or any Kubernetes or any of the those DevOps practices, any applications are installed, right? So here, if you see, it has multiple components, okay, and those components is what going to build the overall architecture here. Okay, are we getting that pointer? Okay, so here if just take example of this particular square, you can say. Okay, so here Google Cloud environment, here is have a shared VPC. There if you see the option, the yellow one, so that's a shared VPC, and in that you will have the projects which you are going to create, and in those projects the actual resources are created. Any of those resources like the compute engine or the Kubernetes, the cloud run, the multiple resources that we are talking about so far, right? So okay, and apart from that, so we have a project in that you got the resources, but to connect those resources together, you need a network, right? Anyone knows what is network? In general, very much in general, like what is a network? Why you need it? Anyone? No one? Network किसी को नहीं पता है? Okay. system within environment or outside also. बस बाहर फिर कनेक्ट कैसे करेगा? Okay, so wireless do not need an yeah. Here you see in this particular reference architecture also you have two networks or the two connections that you are going to make. Cloud interconnect and you have cloud VPN, right? You see that? Okay. And you have an internal network as well. Like you don't want to allow any of your resources that you are creating within your environment that should be accessible to everyone freely. That should not be the case, right? So that is where you see shared VPC approach. The VPC, virtual private cloud. Okay. So that is where we create those VPCs, and around that you are going to also have multiple other resources. Those resources are nothing but you see uh, the cloud identity. Okay. Then you have the logging aspect also covered here, and the monitoring, right? So multiple resources all together makes the right set of blueprint for creating your resources on the platform. So whenever you are working on any of those projects, you have to actually take care of all those components so that, and that should be designed so well. It should, I mean, whenever you are trying to scale your environments, it should not be impacted. Like none of these services, the integration should not fail, right? So there you have to take care of at the very basic level. Okay. So before I so so far the all the resources that is involved here, it's a shared VPC, the VPC firewall rules. Anyone know what is firewall? Firewall, anyone? No? Yes, tell me. Okay. So it's a, yes, it's kind of software you can say. Earlier, like when we were on premises, mostly it was a box, right? That was helping you to segregate the connections, how you are allowing anything, right? You are going to have a cloud firewall rules. So these firewalls rules are nothing but a traffic, or you can say a traffic barrier, right? So it is going to allow or disallow any of the communication that can happen between this Google or from the outside world. Similar to that, we have the other service that is cloud DNS, then cloud monitoring for monitoring all the communication happening, the cloud logging, collecting the logs, and then the cloud audit logs, firewall logging, VPC firewall logs. Okay, so these multiple components make a architecture here, and this is uh, a design which can be suitable for one use case, but for a different use case you have to come up with another design, because it cannot be pretty much standard for any kind of scenario. So you have to keep on enhancing, customizing on the user needs. Like we have seen whenever we go for any building a house for our own, right? So we will have a specific requirements for us. So based on that, we will suggest the architect, okay, this is the thing that I want to get built. Okay. Okay. Hello. Yeah. The next question is when to build these landing zones. Okay. So landing zone in the Google Chrome. Hello. So it's a basic infrastructure that you create on the Google Cloud platform for deployment of secure, scalable environment for your organization workload. Right? Did we understand the definition here? Okay. and it typically includes the components that I talked about. It includes the networks, security, governance components, and that are pretty much pre-configured and ready to use, so that whenever you are growing your it should be actually be. So here are the regions. So these are the regions that for which you are going to create any landing zone. The first one is multi-environment deployments. So suppose you are going to create. Hello. Okay. So here you see the multiple regions for which we are going to create this the landing zones. The one requirement could be multi environment deployments. So suppose whenever you are working on any of this application, you have a development environment, then you will move it to staging and then the production, right? So we are not going to actually keep on creating new and new things without having a template. So you're going to have a template, right? So those templates could be your blueprint that you create. So in this particular region, you create a blueprint and make it very much modularized or a template, right? And then reuse it for the other environment, like you can be in staging, production, or any other environment that you are going to deploy. Now, there can be a requirement like whenever we are working with the clients, we'll see that there are some compliance requirement, right? Whenever we work with any of the financial sector, they will have sensitive data to process, right? And when you are working in with the credit cards, you can see they have some sort of compliance like PCI DSS, right? So on those sets, if you see, they have a compliance to be followed, and to maintain that, to maintain those compliance, you need to have such blueprints ready in place, and that comes under security aspect. Now, also whenever you have a large scale deployment, in that scenario, you should go for a landing zone. And the last one is, okay, okay, okay. So the last one is shared services. In this case, the shared services would be the IAM, the identity, logging, monitoring, all those. If I go to previous slide, here is access, right? So all those components also should be very much taken care, maybe in a separate project somewhere, right? So for that, you should have a blueprint ready in place. Okay. Okay. So now let's take an example of like you have a retail company planning to deploy a large number of e-commerce workloads on the Google Cloud platform. So here in this scenario, they want to scale maybe in down the line, right? So in this scenario, they have to have a blueprint very much ready, and for that the landing zone has to be taken care or created very much on priority. Okay. Now let's talk about the various elements involved in landing zone creation. The first one is identity provisioning. So yeah, so far are you with me? Doesn't look like, I mean, लग रहा है अभी सब नींद में है. Okay, ठीक है. So anyone can tell me what is identity provisioning? Identity provisioning, कॉलेज में आईडी कार्ड बढ़ता है ना आपको, right? Someone should take charge of it, right? So what could be identity provisioning here? Any idea? Yes? Con right. Okay. So when you say conditional access, partially you are true. So before, even before giving the any sort of permission, you need to create those identities, right? So whenever you are opting for like any of courses, you enroll for it, and someone is going to create those identity.
Yes,
Correct?
sir.
Okay. So that is where I'm talking about the identity provisioning. So whenever we start working on any of this cloud platform, you see first the identity has to be created. Okay. So and that should be taken charge like the identity should be created based on like what kind of requirement we have. If you have hundreds of just users to be created, I will just create it on the Google Cloud platform like the Google Workspace, right? You have you get access to the Gmail or other sort of like you get access to the Google Meet. So different plans will be there. Based on that, the access is provided, right? Okay. So that would be something provisioning. And once the identity is created, the users are created on the platform, they will be then later provided the access, the sort of access for able to perform the task, right? And then later comes the resource hierarchy. Now, here we have seen whenever you are going to actually, I mean, anyone try to access the Google console anytime? Anyone? किसी ने ट्राई किया है गूगल क्लाउड का कंसोल? Yes. Okay. So can you tell how you
Sir, first I used to work at one place. So there we were using Google Cloud directly.
right?
Actually, we were working on the virtual machine. So that's why I need to access it again and again uh, to like starting it or like increasing the CPU power of it. So that's why at that time I was using it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
before that you created your account, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And when you create your account, you will either create a project inside it, and then
Yeah.
you will create a resources out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, just so whenever you are actually going to create a project, either you can create it directly or you have to create an organization. Then inside that you will create it, right? You will have
Yes.
some DNS name and like the website name, which will be linked with those IDs, right? Now that is where this resource hierarchy will occur. So whenever you are working on the Google Cloud environment, you will have an organization. Within the organization, there will be some folders you create, and inside those folders, the projects will be created, right? Now that also should be very much taken into consideration whenever you are creating those hierarchies, because it is going to be for very longer time, right? You are going to work with multiple clients. They are going to have very clients. They can be a global client, right? So this particular on the right hand side, if you see, this is a decision tree which is going to define how to create those resources, right? So here in this particular hierarchy, if you see, suppose you have a client who is present in business in multiple regions. The resource should be created maybe in India, in Singapore. So multiple regions they will have a requirement, right? So for that you have to ensure that you are going to create those hierarchy based on the region specific. Okay, so you have to create multiple resources, multiple regions, like the cloud run. If I take an example, so you have to create those cloud run in multiple. Okay, so similar to that, there can be the autonomy, the resource hierarchies. Like if suppose some of counts, some of the projects which is going to actually work for any specific project, for that, if you see, they are going to be accountable for whatever policies, sort of resources they want to create in their environment. So that will fall under the accountability framework. So we will give them a project access. Within that, they create whatever sort of resource they want to create, right? So that will come under accountability framework. If nothing, either of two is not true, in that scenario, we will just follow a standard approach. You create a project for development, staging, and the production, all like different environments that you create, right? So that's very much standard procedure that you follow. Okay. Now the next element is network. Okay. So here again comes the networking part. Now in the network also, like I saw in this reference architecture, there was a cloud interconnect, right? Anyone remember that cloud interconnect and cloud VPN that I showed in reference architecture, right? In that, if you see, the cloud interconnect is more of creating a communication from the on-premise. On-premise, when I say, it's a data center. Okay, so data center, like you can have your own small PC or maybe multiple servers you may have installed. Your if once you get an opportunity to work for any organization, so there also they will have a small data center. Now you want to establish a connection from those data center to the GCP. Okay, so there you use a cloud interconnect kind of scenario, or you can have a cloud VPN for sort of things. Now here what I'm trying to showcase is for how you should be creating the architecture of those networks. Like whenever they are going to have a communication from on-premises to the Google Cloud environment, so there you have again a decision tree which you can follow. And in those decision tree, if you see, it can be a hub and spoke model. So like you can have a connectivity from on-premises to the Google Cloud environment, just one project. In that project, you created a network, the VPC that I talked about. Can you relate it? About that VPC network, right? Shared VPC network. So you premises to the VPC network. From that VPC network, again you have an internal communication. That becomes a hub and spoke model. And later, if that is not a requirement for you, like you don't have a lot of communication from the internal or maybe from the data center, then you can go with the other approaches. You can also have a network, just one network is created with multiple other projects. So that can be done with the sub networks. Okay. And the last one is for the security aspect. So far we discussed about identity provisioning, resource hierarchy, networks. The last one is security. Okay. So you got the users created, you got a list of resource that can be created on the environment. You created a network so that the communication can happen. Okay. So you got all those sort of things done. The last is security, that how you are going to ensure whenever the user is going to access or the applications are going to communicate, the communication are going to be just between them, right? Or the permissions are only allowed only set of users, so that no one else want to ensure the confidentiality and also the security of environment. So now again you see this reference architecture again for the security aspect only. Okay. So in okay, so here if you see, I have a project. Okay, in that project I am going to collect all the logs from multiple other projects. Okay, so I have Kubernetes or the Cloud Run or maybe app engine or compute engine running in multiple other projects. Those projects, whatever sort of logs they are generating, right? So that log I am going to collect in a separate project so that I can analyze it, right? So I'm going to perform all the analysis to it, and then based on that I am going to take some decisions, right? So that is a kind of one architecture I'm producing here for security aspect. Like I'm going to see if it is not going to leak any of the secrets, okay? before any of these logs or the information is going to be delivered outside the world. So this is within the Google Cloud environment. And okay, so apart from those core elements, we do have multiple other important elements, that is monitoring and logging, backup and disaster recovery. Okay, so we have monitoring and logging part, backup and disaster recovery, compliance, cost efficiency control, API management, and the cluster management. Okay, so these are some of the other important elements that has to be talked about whenever we are working on a landing zone. Okay, now let's talk about some of the best practices that followed. Okay, so here the first or the foremost important aspect is the team building part. So here team building would be something like you're going to create a team who is going to work on these requirements, someone who is GCP expert, okay, who can lead the team. Also, you have to take care of the management of the landing zone project. So a manager has to be assigned for it because it is going to run for multiple sprints, maybe like multiple weeks, maybe a few months, right? For creation of this landing zone itself. And then, so you see, you have to define and communicate the project goals to all stakeholders, okay, and set regular checkpoints. Let me. And apart from the team building, the project management part, the important aspect on the technical side is like you have to follow some of the technical best practices like the IX, such as the Terraform modules. Terraform is kind of a tool or soft application, you can say, which helps you to create a code for configuration of or installation of any of the infrastructure that I'm talking, or the all of those services I talked about, right? So everything can be created, modularized with the Terraform modules. And just follow the CI/CD pipeline with GitOps. Apart from this, Abhishek had talked about the Google architecture, how to architect about that, right? So those frameworks are actually available, the best practices that can be followed. In the first session you saw, so those architecting best practices you can see in the documentation that has to be followed whenever we are working on any of these kind of sort of projects. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this was almost end of this presentation. So I'll talk about these two maybe repo. Okay. So that is one for the security foundation blueprint, which Google best practices, and also the Terraform blueprints, okay, which can be used whenever you start working on any of these projects. See, I understand like you may not be able to relate it very much what I'm really trying to explain here, because this is not very much like interest to people. They do not realize in very much initial stage, because this is something that you whenever you if you have tried with working on the maybe a quick labs, or if you have tried any labs on with the GCP. So here this you don't get to see. Anyone know what is quick labs? Quick labs किसने किया है? Yes, tell me. Can we get a mic?
सर, गूगल क्लाउड के लैब्स दिए जाते हैं, गूगल प्रोवाइडेड करता है क्विक लैब्स के थ्रू रिसोर्सेज वगैरह और भी सब, तो लैब्स दिए जाते हैं उसके थ्रू, उससे लर्निंग वगैरह और भी मतलब बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती है, जैसे गूगल करियर करियर प्रैक्टिशनर प्रोग्राम वगैरह था और भी लैब्स वगैरह.
Right. Uh, So why I ask that question, I'll tell you. Quick labs, जब भी आप काम करोगे ना quick labs पे, you will get all this environment set up. You don't realize that it has to be created by someone, right? You understand? So you don't get really chance to see how that is being created and how it is going to work. So that is where I'm talking all this concept. So वो जितने भी architect वाला part है, like how this is going to create an environment, how the resources are going to work very perfectly. क्विक लैब्स पे आप कभी भी काम करोगे, एक भी आपका कमांड फेल नहीं होता है, just because you got this setup already, right? So I'm talking about those foundations, nothing apart from that, right? Whenever you are working on these requirements, so you get a really a repo on the GitHub for the security foundation blueprint and the Terraform blueprint, which you can easily use and deploy it in your projects. Okay, so let me see if I can take that. Okay, anyway. Okay, so just to conclude, landing zone, the best practices for designing. Okay, so it's nothing but best practices for designing and deploying landing zone on GCP involves building a team, managing the projects, aligning with business requirement, and following the technical best, right? So this is the concrete of this particular talk. And before I leave, I just want to recommend these two books. Okay, so I understand that you are very much. I mean, most of the population is like. So you are in second year, right? So you may not be able to really understand why these topics are very important, right? So here I am recommending these two books. This first one, Google Cloud All-in-One Guide. Okay, one of my friend wrote it, and even I have contributed a bit to it. This is going to be help you for very basics of it, right? All of those services that in general we work, and this is really good for the college going students for sure. Okay, the other one is from Priyanka Vogadia ma'am, and that gives you more of the visualization of all those services very much on very high level. So that for professionals it is even better, but for college going this would be better. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions?
Anybody who haven't taken the lunch yet can go now because in 15 minutes we'll be closing the buffet. Thank you, sir, for shedding the light on such a significant topic. The second last speaker for the day is here. Let's welcome together Mr. Vishal Chalotre. He's from Zensar Technologies and wouldn't be shedding light on data fusion and other big data services. We welcome you, sir.
Please keep patience. I'll be covering these topics like very soon, okay? So, yeah, please change. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Vishal Chalotre. I am from Bhopal and I'm a GCP certified data engineer. I am working with Zensar Technology right now. Before that, I was working with TCS. So, I have completed almost 3 years in GCP technologies. So, today we'll be talking about so what is data engineering first. If you don't know about like what is data engineering, so data engineering is all about practices for designing and building a system for collecting, transforming and storing. Also it is used for analyzing the data. So basically we'll be talking about like raw data. So data engineer is the only one who get to touch with the raw data first. So he's the one who going to collect it, transform it, and give it to the other people like data scientists or data analytics for take some insights so that company can take the decisions. Okay, please. So today agenda is like what are all the big data services available in GCP. So there are majorly four big data services available in GCP: data flow, data proc, data prep, and data fusion. So after that we will be talking about data fusion, like what are all the components of the data fusion and UI view. We will be building a pipeline and exploring the data using Wrangler tool. Okay. So these are the three services I have mentioned here: data flow, data proc, and data prep. So yeah. So data flow is like unified for batch and stream both. So what is mean by unified? Unified means like you can use a single code for both stream and batch. This feature is not available in any other of the GCP services or any of the cloud. Okay. So this is like Apache Airflow Beam. So if you have Apache Beam, you can use data flow directly with your old codes. And the next one is data proc. Data proc is fully managed and highly scalable. So it means like you can scale at any point. Okay. And this service is used for Apache Hadoop, Apache Spark, Apache Flink. Like this, like we have 30 other services, open source services, which can use data proc in the Google Cloud ecosystem. Another one is Terifactor. Terifactor, provided by Terifactor, there we have a data prep. Data prep is not a cloud native, but we can use for exploring, cleaning, and preparing the data. The next thing is like data fusion. Data fusion is like fully managed cloud native, which is UI based, and we can manage ETL and ELT data pipelines. I think you guys know about ETL and ELT. We'll be talking about more and ELT and ETL. So it also provide like pre-built transformation and plugins. We'll be see like what are the plugins and what are the transformation. And this is powered by CDAP. CDAP is nothing and an open source project, Cascade application which run on Hadoop. Please. So what are all the benefits? If you can see the screenshot, and the screenshot is like a UI of the data fusion. And I guess this is pretty much good. If you can see, if you are comparing with the code, this is like a UI based thing. So it will be more interesting to work with data fusion. So these are the benefits, like it integrate rich graphic interface, code-free visualization. There are 1,000+ transformations already available here. You can test and debug the pipeline within the data fusion. Please. So this is the ETL pipeline, a basic ETL pipeline where we have extract, transform, and load. So in the extract phase, we are reading the data from other data sets. Like here, we are reading from the flight and airlines. In the transformation, we are transforming the data. Suppose we are parsing and we are removing the unwanted columns. We are joining it. We are grouping it. All the transformation we'll do in the transformation phase. Then we will be loading it to the database. Database can be on any kind of clouds. So today we'll be deploying it into the GCP. This is the architecture by using the data fusion. So if you can see in the left hand side, we have on-premises databases, on-premises file. So you need to get those files into the GCP ecosystem using data transfer services. After landing into the GCP, you will be using the data cloud. Data cloud is like a landing zone where you have all the files. And then by using the transformation, by using the data fusion, you can do all kind of transformation. After doing the transformation, you can save all the data into the BigQuery. From the BigQuery, you can use Google Cloud Studio and any other visualization tool to visualize this and to get the insights from the data. You can orchestrate those things using Cloud Composer. Cloud Composer is nothing, it's an Apache Airflow. If you heard about Apache Airflow, so Apache Airflow is Cloud Composer here. Then you can also log and monitor. Next slide, please. So this is the home page of data fusion. If you can see, there are approx 5 different tools in the data fusion. First one is Wrangler. It is used to transform the data, clean the data. Another one is integration. This is the most important one, because by using integration, we will be creating the pipeline, we will be deploying the pipeline. Another one is governance and discovery. It is just used for what is the root cause of the pipeline, if pipeline is failing, where is the data, what is the bad data, what is the good data. Another one is monitor. Monitor, you all know, like after creating the pipeline, we need to monitor it, okay? Then there is manage. Suppose we have like thousands of pipeline. You wanted to group it. So there is like namespace. So if you want to manage the namespace and other system services, you can use the manage. So this is the first Wrangler component by which we will be using the transformation. If you can see the screenshot, in the screenshot, this is the one of the CSV file which I passed using the data wrangler. So data wrangler can be used for preparing the new data sets. It is used for applying the transformation, and after the applying the transformation, you can see the visual effects just within a second. Please. This is the another screenshot from the Wrangler. So if you can see, like Wrangler is a code-free visual environment for transforming the data pipelines. This is the overview of the Wrangler. If you can see, I have marked the captions here, like what is what. Here we have connections. Within this connections, how many files are there? You can select the file from here. After selecting the file, you can make a table here within a second. After making the tables, you can put the recipe or directives. Both are like a small part of code by which we can going to transform the data. After doing all the transformation, you can just click on the create pipeline. It will create the automatically pipelines, okay? Another one is, suppose you have a big pipeline. So you can't create from here, okay? So if you are creating a big pipeline and you wanted to transform a small part of it, so you can go directly here, select a file, create the transformation, copy the transformation, go back to the previous biggest data pipeline and paste it there. So this is kind of testing scenarios. You can test it, the transformation, before applying to the actual pipeline. Another one is studio. If you can see the screenshot, this is the studio, or we can say the canvas where we are creating the pipelines. Is it interesting or not? I guess it is interesting because it is a code-free tool. You no need to use any kind of code. You just have to drag it and drop it. For the transformation, you need to type code, but before that, no need to do it. You just have to drag the code, drag the plugins and paste it in the canvas, and you need to connect those. Yeah. So data pipeline is also called as DAG. DAG is nothing a directed acyclic graph. It means like it should not contain any kind of cycle. It should be a one way of the pipeline. But if you can see the screenshot, in the screenshot, like input of a particular plugin can be can be coming from one or two nodes. In the same way, output of one plugin can be input of two or more nodes. This is the overview of Studio. If you can see, like this is the canvas. In the left hand side, there are plugins available, which is categorized into source, transformation, analytics. And if you can see in the upper part, like pipeline actions, you can save, schedule, preview, and deploy it. You can also export it and import it. So after creating the pipeline, you can export those pipelines in the JSON format, and you can upload it to the GitHub for versioning. You can also monitor the health of the entire pipeline, or even you can also monitor the particular plugin. So after creating the pipeline, you need to monitor also, like it is behaving in a correct way or not. Suppose I have created one pipeline and it is running for 24 hours. So what is the benefit of creating the pipeline? It's of no use. So we need to monitor the pipeline after creating it. Now there are other services also, integration metadata. As we all know about, like what is metadata. So metadata is nothing, it's just about the metadata, if you have a table, then what are the primary keys and all tags, what is the lineage, like what are all the fields available in the particular table. So these are the things you can easily manage or see by using integration metadata. Then there is one of the part is hub where you can find the pre-built pipelines. If your use case is very small, you can go there and search for a particular pipeline and create it within a clicks. There are use cases, there are plugins. You can create your own plugins also. These are the entities. Here you can create your own plugins, pipelines, libraries, you can also upload your own transformations, user defined transformations. You can schedule your pipelines by using this one. So in this one, if you can see, you can schedule it like on daily basis, on monthly basis, whatever you wanted to do. I just wanted to show you one of the pipelines which I have just created here, and if you can see, this is succeeded. This is created here. Please guys pay attention. This is the last part, 1 minute slide only. Okay. So this is like a demo of the pipeline. I have just created this pipeline. So this pipeline contains or plugins, and this is the input of our pipeline. So if you heard about like GCS bucket, GCS bucket is one of the services, or you can see a data lake where we are going to upload or dump the data from on premises. This is a GCS bucket. So after GCS bucket, we are attaching it to the Wrangler. In the Wrangler, we have code for the transformation. After the transformation, so if the code as per the transformation, then it will go back to the, it will dump to the BigQuery. If the code is not correct, or it will throw an error, or if it is bad data, it will collect by the error character and it will be dumped into the different table. So if you can see here, there are 100 rows in the GCS bucket. The input of the file is 100 bucket. After the transformation, the output of Angular is 42. Then what are all the good data is again 42, and it's stored into the BigQuery. And this pipeline ran in 6 minutes. So 6 minutes contain like provisioning, running, and all the things. It contains 6 minutes. In those 6 minutes, it transforms the data. I know 6 minutes is very too much, but it depends on the compute to compute. When we are working on a company, 6 minutes is nothing. Okay, in 6 minutes, you can run this pipeline for billions of records. Okay. So after the transformation, you can see like it is dumping into the BigQuery with the two different tables. The first one is good data, another one is bad data. I'll show you the properties of these plugins. So these are the plugin. If you can see, I have given here the path of my CSV file. The CSV file is data underscore updated.csv. Here is the schema. You can import and export the schema. Then this is the Wrangler. This is the main part to do the transformation. So in this Wrangler, we have a properties like recipes or directives. You can see here, I have pasted like one of the first is one is find and replace. So what it is going to find and replace in the name column, which is the first column, which is the second column, I guess. Yeah, third column. So in the name column, it will be find hyphen, and it will be replaced by space. Okay. So the name contain is hyphen. We don't want that. So that's why we are just finding the hyphen and we are replacing it by space. In the similar way, you can see like send to error. Okay. If the website column is this one. Website column doesn't contain HTTPS. Okay. So we are watching here for HTTP. If it is containing the HTTP, we don't want that. It is a bad data. Okay. So we wanted to send to error. From send to error, it will be go into the different table, which is a bad table. Okay. In a similar way, when we go to the BigQuery, here we just have to give the what is the table name. Table name is organization, and data set name data fusion tables. So I'll show you the BigQuery one, where it is actually saving the data. So this is our bucket, GCS bucket. Here we have upload. We have these functions. You can upload the file. So I uploaded this file, and this is the only file which I am calling from the GCS bucket. So this is the GCS bucket, and we have uploaded the file. Now where is the output? So output of the file is in the BigQuery. If you go to the BigQuery, have you ever seen this kind of this landing page? I guess nobody. Okay, there is one guy who already did this or watched this one. So if you can see, this is the BigQuery. BigQuery is like a database, or you can say a data warehouse, where we can contain all the tables, and it's a very powerful tool. This is the data fusion, which is the data set. So in the data set, if you can see, there are two tables. One is organization bad records, and another one is organization. So if you remember from the previous slides, I have like put it two big queries. One is for good data, another one is for bad data. So this is the first one. The second one is the organization. So these are the fields we are getting here. If you go to the preview, this is the good data which we have. So this is the good data. How many good data are? 42. If you go back to the pipeline and see what are the good data are the 42. So these 42 data are go and save to the BigQuery, okay? In the similar way, if you go back to the organization bad data, so in organization bad data we have fields, but we have we have three more fields, like why it is failing, why the record is bad, why this came into this path, why it doesn't go for the correct path. So these are the three records. This contain the actual failing of these records, okay? So if I click again from the BigQuery and go to the preview, so here are like 53 records which are bad. So if I go here, like it will show you like what is the why this is like a bad record, because it doesn't contain HTTPS, it contain HTTP. In a similar way, if you go to the down, this is the another reason why this one is failed, the row number 50, because it contain number of employees is 0. We don't want that number of employees is 0, because every company should have at least one employees, okay? So like this you can create a pipeline and you can run it. So I guess this session is for useful, and you can use this UI thing and create a pipeline, okay? So at the last, pipeline is ready. Let's party. If you want, we can take a question for 1 minute if anyone is having any questions, or we can go with the next session, okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir, for giving amazing insights of the respective domain. For the last speaker session of the day, we welcome Mr. Sanket Bisne, cloud engineer at CRS and a Google Cloud champion innovator in modern architecture. He will be discussing the implementation of DevOps practices with GCP. Please give him a warm welcome.
There is some technical glitch and we are trying to sort this out. Until then, I would request everyone to kindly maintain the decorum of the room. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
I'm audible? Till there? Hello? Yeah, this is the last session. Please take five minutes break, or let's say just drink water or whatever you want to do. It is the last session, and I will not be boring you. It will be much entertaining, and you will be learning 5 most important things for CI/CD. I will be promised you. Okay? So please take your attention here, and let's start the session. Okay? Yeah. So myself, Sanket Bisne. I'm working as a cloud engineer at Sears, which is a Google Cloud partner company, and I'm also a champion innovator from Google in the modern architecture domain. Okay. So today, this is the last session. We will be taking 5 major concepts from this. So I will be teaching you the CI/CD concept, which is be used in the Google Cloud world. Okay. There are 5 services which is very, very much important whenever you go for a job interview, when you go for any of the sessions, you will be encountering with this five domains. Okay, 5 GCP services. Okay, so yeah, so let's start with the agenda. First one, as you have already, many of the speakers have already told you what is DevOps, what are the services associated with it, how to use it. They have implemented in DevOps, MLOps. They have built so many pipelines, right? So this is the last session. I'll be wrapping up all the things that all the speakers have said, and you will be getting a high level 1,000 feet overview architecture of it. Okay, so yeah, so first basically I will be giving you introduction to DevOps with GCP. What are the services available in GCP? Then we will be going to CI/CD products of the GCP. Then there will be a customer use cases that we solve as a part of employees every day. Okay. Then the real world examples, and at the last we can connect for the Q&A sessions for offline. Okay. So yeah, please hold on, don't claps. Okay. So yeah, this. Okay. So this is time for DevOps. Okay. Fuck. It's not working. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So what is CI? Okay, first. So as we can see, there are 5 things. There is plan, release, code, test, and build. So this is the CI flower. Okay. Then there's a CD flower also in the upcoming slide, which will be talking about the continuous integration and continuous deployment. There's a common misconception here. So many things, many people get confused in CI and CD. Okay. So continuous delivery, continuous deployment are the two separate entities. Okay. Continuous delivery means basically you are without any manual intervention, you are just pushing your code to the pipeline and it will automatically deploy. Okay. But continuous deployment means what? Actually, it is having a manual step in between where you go and just deploy and click off kind of thing. So whenever you click on that things, automatically a new feature gets automatically deployed in a pipeline. Okay. So yeah, yeah. Not working. Slide. Yeah. So basically, we can see deploy, collect feedback, operate, release, and monitor. These are the 5 P's of CD. Okay. So basically, what actually go? I will be talking about 5 principles, 5 services that will be integrated within in the upcoming session. Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead. So as we can see in the first flower, we can see plan, code, build, and test. Right. So first one is the plan. Right. What actually, whenever we are building any product, we have to plan that product in such a way that we have to just code it, plan it, right? After that, these things are done. Basically, we have to just deploy it into the another release. Okay. So as we can see, for planning, we should have a Google project with us, right? We have to create a first project, and then basically we can go ahead with the billing kind of thing. Whenever we create a project, we attach a billing ID associated with it, right? That takes cares about the what are the bills associated with your Google Cloud account, what are the organization's billing, right kind of stuff. So basically in the code, so anyone use about GitHub, GitLab, or any repository, just take your hands up. Don't answer it, just take your hands up. Okay, many of the things. Like your GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, we have a source repository here. So it is an alternative for all this repository, which we have a Google source repository, in which it is a private repository where we keep code, and it is not we can't make it public, but it is a private one. So again, I will be giving you a brief about all those things in the upcoming slides. Okay. And for building, what exactly we mean by building is that we are just compiling the code, right? Whenever we build any code, just like JavaScript, Python, okay? So we build it, compile it. Let's say example, Python 3app.py. This is the method, the Python code, right? So basically, it is nothing but a building kind of thing. Testing means what? After building of the code, just like whenever you compile it, we have some test cases associated with it, right? So let's say I have some 3 test cases. Anyone has code in CodeChef or any HackerRank platform till date? Anyone? Yeah, many, right? So just like the test cases we execute in those particular code, right? Just like that, we have our production test cases also in our basically any building of any particular product. Okay, yeah, next. So after this, we have CD. Basically in CD, what actually does, after your building process is over, we have a CD concept here. CD concept is what? Basically, whenever we are deploying particular things, okay? In CD, basically we are having release on the basis of environments. In the industry, basically, we have many environments. Just to take an example, quality assurance, or let's say staging or production. So whenever a new feature goes roll out in production, it should pass to specific, let's say, stages, just like QA, staging, etc. Right? Okay. Then basically, we have a deploy. After building this specifically, test cases, all those things, we have an environment to deploy this. Let's say App Engine, Cloud Run, virtual machines, and Google Kubernetes Engine. For example, these are the 4 specific that environments I can say, or products of CI for which you are using for this particular domain. Okay. Then monitor. After these particular things you have built it, you have a monitor section where you monitor actually application, who did what on which resource. Let's say us have deleted anything in your production environment, to just take a post-mortem report of who exactly deleted that particular resource, right? With the help of logging, you can identify that which employees have deleted this particular resource and who did what on which resource specifically. Yeah, next. Okay, so basically, these are the 5 CI/CD principles, or let's say products I will be walking you through, and it will be very easy, don't worry about it. So don't go for the definition, it's so long, okay? So just like source code repository, cloud build, okay, then your container registry, artifact registry, and cloud deploy. This last, cloud deploy, is a recently introduced service from Google that is used for continuous deployment or delivery, you can say. This is the latest service which is launched in the January, I think. So I will be walking through this one. Yeah, please go ahead. So this is the first product for CI/CD. Just like you use GitHub, GitLab, or any repository to host your application, we have a cloud source repository. Okay, in cloud source repository, these are the private GitHub repository or kind of thing. Okay, so basically, again, 3 sections in it. First one, let's say I have to give viewer access to anyone so that he can only view the cloud source repository. Okay, so for this particular thing, I have a permission called viewer permission, which is source repository reader. So let's say a user, let's say yuraj@gmail.com. I have given this particular Gmail ID a permission to only view that particular repository. Only he will be able to only read that particularly content which is present in the repository. Okay, so for this we have to give him a user role, that is source repository reader. Okay, then another thing, let's say 10 of the developers are working on the project. Okay, so I have to give individual members a source repository writer. So for that particularly thing, so what they will be using, they will be deploying the code actually, they will be contributing to it, they will be pushing the changes, they will be committing to the code. So basically, with the help of this second source repository writer, they would be able to do that stuff. Okay, and the last one, that is source repository administrator. Okay, so the basic difference between this role and this role is, in specifically source repository writer, the individual member can't create the repository. Okay, but with the help of administrator, he have whole control of all the repositories. Okay, next slide. Cloud build. So basically, this is the service which is for building the code. Once you have pushed your code into GitHub, GitLab, or any repository, right? You have to build it actually. You have to basically create a pipeline out of it, and you have to create that, particularly build that code, whatever you have written, right? Let's say you have written your code in Node.js. Okay, so basically you have to basically whenever we do install the Node.js, we'll do node v-v npm install. Basically these are the test cases that it goes through the building stages, right? So basically for building the code, we have a product called Cloud Build, which is responsible for building the code. Okay, then basically we have many machine types available in the Cloud Build. Basically we can choose from all those things. Yeah, and we can deploy in serverless, virtual machines, Kubernetes engine, and all of those things. Please go ahead. Okay, so this is the container registry. Okay, so what is exactly means? So whenever you builded that code, it has to have push into a storage kind of thing, right? Let's say you have to store your Docker images. Anyone have heard about Docker here? Docker. Okay, so can anyone give me mic, please? Yeah. Just explain us what is Docker.
Sir, Docker is basically what you say container type platform,
Exactly.
where we can deploy service with a form of images.
Exactly.
We create image first, then we build it, and we directly deploy it on the containers.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's a right answer, basically. Yeah. So as you have mentioned that Docker is a containerization tool which is used to build the images. So who don't know what image is just a packaging of your application. Okay. So whenever we interact with any containerization tool, okay, so we have a Docker in place. There are also many container tools just like Rocket, okay, and so the majorly used is Docker. Okay, so the major difference between container registry and the artifact registry is that container registry only supports Docker and artifact registry supports the images which are having Docker and non-Docker images as well. Yeah. So the artifact registry, as you can see, this is used to store, manage, and secure your build artifacts. Okay. So basically, the major difference between artifact registry and container registry is that in container registry, you will be able to only push the Docker images, but in artifact registry, you can push your Docker images or non-Docker images as well. Okay. So the container images like Docker, Helm, you can also push the Java packages as well, or let's say Python, Node.js, any, and OS packages like Debian, anything you can push. Okay. Okay, so this is the majorly recently launched service from Google Cloud, which is known as Google Cloud Deploy. So previously, when I have learned this CI/CD pipeline, I have used Cloud Build. Okay, Cloud Build for building the code, testing the code, and deploying the code into the production environment. Okay, but Google has came with a new service which is known as Google Cloud Deploy. It means, okay, let's say you are having multiple environments, just like stage, production, QA. Okay, so now you have to just build it, test it, deploy it into multiple repository in the one go fashion. Okay, so this is the parallel release deployment of this feature, which is canary and parallel deployment support. It gives us the visualization form on how the pipeline is behaving, how much percentage it got failed, how much percentage it got succeed. Okay, so this is the best newly launched feature from Google Cloud, which is responsible for canary and parallel deployments. So basically, yeah, just go ahead. Yeah. So this is the how it looks like basically. As you can see, there are three basically versions or environments. Okay, let's say we are using a gaming service kind of thing. Okay, let's say we are playing a game, and the backend we have many of the environments provision to it, just like stage, QA, section. Okay, so as we can see, the failure rate here, right? It is 0% failure rate last 30 days. This is the beauty of your visualization tool of your products of CI/CD. So as you can see, in the India, there are many regions of cloud, just like Asia East one, Europe West one, and your US Central one. So this is the basically multi-pipeline we can say, or multi-stages you can say. Okay. So as you can see here, this is the monthly averaging day 1.1. This is a visualization tool that is basically just launched by Google. So as you can see, these are pipelines anywhere. Okay. Yeah. So the real world use cases, I will be giving you three real use cases that we have used for many of the customers. Okay. So that will be much helpful for you, I'm sure. Okay. In your upcoming future, or whenever you are interviewing with another companies, or it will be much more beneficial for this specifically. So first one is the modern CI/CD flow for cloud build and cloud deploy. Okay. Then another one is migration of Jenkins. Anyone have heard Jenkins here? Jenkins. Thank you. Okay. So basically, we have had a scenario where the machines were provisioned on the EC2 servers. Okay. So the basically challenge was to migrate the pipelines from to Google Compute Engines. So basically, we have to decide a flow, how it works, how it looks like, right? What will be the particular flow of it? Okay. So basically, just there are two things here. First one is your monolithic application, and another one is your microservices. Anyone have heard about monolithic or microservices ever? Fine. Okay. Can you give mic to that person? Just tell me the difference between the microservices and your monolithic application. Just a simple definition will be fine.
Actually, monolithic is a traditional making softwares, but microservices is a new way of making softwares and designing.
Exactly. So microservices is a traditional deployment, and now the companies are moving to the microservices, right? So yeah, exactly. So basically, whenever we create a pipelines, we have two scenarios. Either we have to decide whether that application will be monolithic or the application will be microservices. Okay. So let's say if it is a monolithic, so where we will go to compute engines. If suppose it is microservices, where we will go? Either we will go to Cloud Run or GKE, right? Okay. So yeah, next slide. Okay. So basically, we have heard about majorly services. Now we will be taking the Avenger assembling kind of thing here. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So as we can see, the first, that is your alternative, the GitHub, GitLab, anything. So first is your, whenever a code is built, it is pushed to the, it is pushed to the source repository or a GitHub repository or a GitLab repository. This is the first step. Another step will be cloud build. Whenever we have pushed your code, we have to build that code, right? After building, we have a container registry. Now, the container registry archiving into the artifact registry. It is being provisioning into the artifact registry now. Okay. As soon as you push your code, builded your code, then it has pushed to the GCR. Okay. Then we have to cloud deploy here. So what is scaffold? Scaffold, it is a basically tool to render your images. We don't have to do Kubernetes, kubectl apply -f every time, right? We have an automated flow. So basically we have a scaffold in place which will do your kubectl apply -, commands across your multiple environments. Okay. Then this is your cluster. Let's say your manager is with you and basically he wants you to roll out the new application and changes. Before it is going to go into production, you require an approval from your manager. Okay. So to approve that changes, we have a require manual approval thing over here. So basically your basically manager will approve the changes, and basically your cluster, you go to the production cluster and your deployment get happens. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is the example of your first use case, that is migration of Jenkins pipeline to the GCP compute engines for monolithic applications. Okay, I have already told you there are two ways to define any application. First one is your monolithic, another one is on microservices. Okay, so as you can see, yeah, go back. Yeah. So in the AWS, what we were doing, we are having a tag of Jenkins app. So what is this? So let's say there are many virtual machines in your project, and you have to pick up a specific one. Okay, so in that case, what we will do, we will be going to the tag kind of thing. So let's say मेरे पास बहुत सारे वर्चुअल मशीन्स हैं और मुझे ऐसी वर्चुअल मशीन सिलेक्ट करनी है जिसमें पर्टिकुलर एक टैग लगा हो. तो उस केस में मैं जेनकिंस वाला एक ऐप पर्टिकुलर कोई भी नाम दे दूंगा अपने टैग का, ठीक है, तो वैसे ही वो चूज कर लेगा वहां से. ठीक है, जैसे ही टैग सिलेक्ट हो गया, स्पेसिफिक वर्चुअल मशीन सिलेक्ट हो गई, उसके बाद हम लोग एक कमांड चलाएंगे जो उस वर्चुअल मशीन पे चलेगी जो पर्टिकुलर टैग में एसोसिएटेड है. ठीक है, तो ये पहली पाइपलाइन का फ्लो था जो हमारा AWS कस्टमर यूज कर रहा था. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट लाइन. सो हम लोगों ने जीसीपी में उसको कैसे किया, सेम सब कुछ सेम था, जेनकिंस भी सेम था, बट एक चीज का डिफरेंस था कि एसएसएस का जो कमांड होता है वो, और ये जो होस्ट फाइल दिख रहा है ना इधर, वो बेसिकली हमारे पास ऑथेंटिकेशन करने का तरीका नहीं था जिसके थ्रू हम कोई ऑथेंटिकेशन कर पाए. तो हम लोगों ने एक अलग मेथड यूज किया. इसको बेसिकली आप ब्लैक होल से भी संबंधित कर सकते हो, डेव नल. और आप सर्च कर सकते हो व्हाट इज डेव नल इन लिनक्स. सो बेसिकली यू विल बी गेटिंग एन हाई लेवल ओवरव्यू ऑफ इट. ओके, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. This is the basically a good example that I have created for one of the customer. So आप देख पा रहे हो जैसे कोई भी वेबसाइट होती है, जैसे लाइक फ्लिपकार्ट, अमेजोन या कोई भी वेबसाइट, जैसे ही उस पर लोड बढ़ता है तो सबसे पहले क्या होता है कि आपका जो बेसिकली जो आपका जो ऑटो स्केलिंग होता है वो आपके सर्वर्स पे डिपेंड करता है. ठीक है, तो ये ऑटो स्केल हो रही है वर्चुअल मशीन्स. ओके, पहले लोड बैलेंसर पे रिक्वेस्ट जाएगा, उसके बाद ऑटो स्केल होगा मशीन्स, और फिर वो सीक्रेट मैनेजर, एक हम लोगों ने एक तरीका बनाया था सीक्रेट मैनेजर का. तो बेसिकली हम लोग सिक्योर्ड वे में सारी चीजें करना चाहते थे. ओके, सो वी हैव डिफाइंड अ सीक्रेट मैनेजर वेयर वी हैव कीप्ट अ टोकन. From that token, whenever a new scale, whenever a new machine get auto scaled, so that token is picked up from that secret manager and it goes to the load balancer. Yeah, go slide. So basically we can talk for this. I will be sharing you the slides as well. So you can take a look for this blog. I have created a blog. Basically what it do, it is represented for the microservices. Earlier example was related to monolithic applications, and this is the example that is related to your microservices. You can build a project out of it. Let's say you have to containerize an application, you have to deploy into Kubernetes, after you have to deploy also pipeline also. So for that case, we have an architecture that represents the same. Developer push his code to GitLab. GitLab automatically close to this repository, and then the whole flow happens. Okay, next slide. So wait. Okay, so basically, this is the last one. This is the last one. The last use case basically. Okay, so let's say I'm having two environments, just like dev, stage, okay? And I have to do Kubernetes deployment, basically, okay? So for that, I have a different tool that is customized. This is the use, you can learn about customize. Basically, it is for rendering the Kubernetes file, let's say for multiple across environments. Yeah, that is a code actually. Don't get too confused of this code. Basically, just focus on these steps basically. So it is a builder of customize. Basically, you can just take a look on the GitHub repository or anything. Okay. Then, as you can see, there are two containers, clusters, Sanket staging cluster and Sanket production cluster. So basically, what we will be doing, first we will be deploying your code into staging cluster. Automatically, just one click, it will be deployed to the Kubernetes cluster 2 also. That is a production cluster. So this is the basic example of using customize for your third use case. And that's the end. And we just anyone have any question answer, you can connect offline for this. Okay. Now go ahead. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sanket, for an insightful session. There's an announcement. There is a spare phone. Coming next, now we're heading towards the brainstorming panel discussion on the role of technical education in driving innovation and entrepreneurship, covering the insights from educators, industry experts, and startup founders. So we have 4 panelists for today's session. I'd briefly introduce the panelists to the audience. We have with us Dr. Kalpana Rai, Professor and HOD, AIML and Cybersecurity, Sagar Institute of Research and Technology, Bhopal. Next in line, we have Mr. Amir, Service Design plus UX UI designer with Startup Incubator, creating meaningful and delightful experiences, and who's passionate about innovation and user-centric design. Then we have Mr. Vijay Anand Saxena from the Vyas Group. Next in line, we have Mr. Piyush Shah and Ms. Chavi Shah, who are the founders of Align Together. Piyush has 23 plus years of IT experience and is an MBA from IIM Lucknow and engineering from Manet Bhopal. Chavi has done her B.Ed and BA, and they both are the founders of Align Together Solutions Private Limited. We are glad to have you all on board today. I'd request all of you to kindly come up on the stage for the panel discussion. Can we have a round of applause to welcome our guest here? Thank you. Mr. Mayur Rathi, who is the organizer of CCT Bhopal, would be moderating this panel discussion. So we welcome him here as well. Thank you.
Hello. Hi everyone. Am I audible? Everyone? Okay. So my name is Mayur Rathi, as we have already discussed earlier, and I have mentioned that the purpose of the CCD is to make you aware with the cloud technology, specifically Google Cloud. Additionally, I want you all to upskill yourself, being as I see most of you are undergraduate students in Bhopal. So the topic for our panel discussion today is more focused on technical education. So we would be discussing and have a panel discussion on the role of technical education in driving innovations and entrepreneurship. So we have our guest with us. So let me introduce them to you. We have Ameya. So he has already been community organizer, also leading incubation architect Bhopal previously. Now he's working with Appointee. You all have heard of, yes or no? And we have Dr. Kalpana ma'am. She is leading and head of the department of AI and ML branch in Sagar Group. Then we have Piyush Jain sir. He is also the startup founder of aligntogether.live. You all should explore this startup. It is very innovative. You eventually would get to learn and you yourself can earn parallel income also. Okay. So just explore that website. Then we have our startup community organizer. He is leading I Am Startup Group, which is having 700 plus startups in Bhopal. Okay. So if you are a startup, you should get in touch with him. Okay. And he can help you with it to grow your startups. So let's start our panel discussion. So I would start by asking one question with each, and then we can take the further. So to start with, let me ask Dr. Kalpana ma'am, like how can technical education be made more inclusive and accessible to students from diverse backgrounds? From your own experiences of education sector, leading different computer science department with different universities, what is your experience and thoughts on it?
Hello, all of you. Before answering to this particular question, as a teacher, I understand your feeling that all of you are sitting here from 10 o'clock in the morning. So I just seeing the clapping and all these things while the speakers delivering their sessions. But be with us because this is a very good opportunity for you to learn the things. Okay. Now turning toward the question, as Mayur asked, what are the uh, opportunities we should give. As per my knowledge, first of all, we can give the outreach education to diversify the students because when we outreach programs can be said to encourage students like online program and so that they can use that. Then we also can give the financial support to the students by mentoring and delivering the knowledge, whatever the skills that we have. So as per what I think, this we can do. The universities may have the tie-up with the the industries so that they upbring the skills and knowledge to the students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let me go to Vijay sir. So what motivates you to start your own startup? Additionally, what motivated you to host and become the organizer of this startup community? And what challenges did you face during this initial stage? Like at the initial stage of creating your startup and also about the community, can you draw some light?
Yeah, sure. Hello, my name is Vijay Anand Saxena. I have a SaaS product, Accountant Lalaji. May you have heard about it. So in 2017, if you have heard, government has imposed GST in India. So many people are what we can say कि क्या करेंगे अब GST आ गया इंडिया में कैसे manage होता है. So we have took this as an opportunity. So that time we have developed our product like GST billing solution. It's a complete ERP solution. So from till then to till now, I have faced many challenges as a startup founder. So I have seen there is a big, like we can say, there is a big gap between the technologies and networking. So filling in that, I have started I am startup community. In this community, we have around 700 plus startups. We are helping each others, like in many ways, like sharing businesses, giving knowledges, sharing resources even. So during this complete time, I have found many difficulties to doing this. But as we are also connected with the GDG community, and we'll do more better for the startup ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. Now let me go to Piyush sir, who is the founder of AlignTogether.live. My question to you is, what motivates you to start your own startup again, and what challenges did you face again in the initial stage? Same question to you.
Sure, Mayur. Thanks for the question. It will be a long answer from my side, guys. Before that, I would like to introduce what is Align Together Solutions. AlignTogether.live is a product, is not the company name. Company name is Align Together Solutions Private Limited, which was incorporated way back in August 2016. So the company has, has been in this business for last 6 years now. Company provide services to various domestic and international clients. We provide software development. We work on all kind of technologies, especially web development and mobile development. React, Node, Java, Python, Django, React Native, and various things. Some of you probably already have been associated with Align Together solutions for some time. AlignTogether.live is a product which was launched in this year, in January 2023. I will definitely encourage you to go through the product and use it. Some of the panelists are here, like Jitendra, Abhishek. I just found that they are using TopMate. We are a competition to TopMate. We are a competition to YouTube. We are a competition to Fiverr. We are a competition to Calendly, scheduling system. We are a competition to Appointee also to some extent. So we are, AlignTogether.live is world's first marketplace for freelancer services, for live interactive services, where people can book all kind of live courses, workshop, interactions, and we also provide an all-in-one business management software. Coming back to the question, what prompted me to come up with this company way back in 2016? So guys, I hope I'm audible to the people out in the balcony. They are having a good time there, but please focus on some discussions here. So guys, कुछ तो मजबूरियाँ रहती हैं कि आपको शुरू करना है और कुछ encouragement रहता है. I mean, I spent close to 16 years before I started this in 2016. I worked with in various countries, almost 10 countries I worked in. US में मैंने करीब 3 साल काम किया, स्वीडन में 3 साल किया, एक साथ जर्मनी में किया, कई कंपनीज में किया. Infosys was the first time they came to Bhopal in 98. जब मैंने REC भोपाल से इंजीनियरिंग किया था इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड टेलीकम्युनिकेशन में, तब Infosys फर्स्ट टाइम आई थी भोपाल और हम लोग Infosys चले गए. 2 साल Infosys में काम किया, कुछ समय US में किया, कुछ समय बेंगलोर में किया. उसके बाद I did my MBA from IIM Lucknow. So post MBA worked with various IT majors including TCS, Capgemini, Cognizant in the US, Sweden, other countries में काम किया. कुछ फैमिली रीजंस थे कि भोपाल आना था और कुछ अपना था कि भाई खुद अपना खुद का शुरू करना है. जब शुरू करना था तब SaaS की इतनी पावर पता नहीं थी. तो इनफैक्ट आई वाज टॉकिंग टू निमेश ड्यूरिंग प्री लंच सेशन. ही वाज वन ऑफ द पर्सन whom I interact with कि भाई SaaS की कितनी पावर है. And I would say that guys, you are very blessed who are there in this hall. At least आप एक क्लाउड के बारे में जान रहे हो, blessed हो. Year 2016 तक working with various companies, I didn't know the power of software. आज Kubernetes का सेशन मैं देख रहा हूँ, आप लोग सुन रहे हैं, लेकिन शायद उस चीज़ की पावर को नहीं समझ रहे हैं. मेरे पास Kubernetes की पोजीशंस आती हैं Align Together Solutions में कि मुझे 5 साल का बंदा एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए, Kubernetes में चाहिए, हम 1.5 लाख रुपए तक का बजट रखते हैं और मुझे एक बंदा नहीं मिलता भोपाल में. गाइस, तो ये रियलिटी है. ये रियलिटी मैं 6 साल से फेस कर रहा हूँ. जो मयूर का सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन है कि क्या चैलेंजेस आते हैं. हमें चैलेंजेस आते हैं कि हमारे पास क्लाइंट नहीं आता और क्लाइंट आता है तो बंदे नहीं आते हैं. AlignTogether.live है, प्लेटफॉर्म है. There are people who are using it in Australia, they are using it in Pakistan, they are using it in Bangladesh. पर भोपाल के लोग AlignTogether.live यूज़ नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि वो क्यूरियस नहीं है, क्योंकि वो कुछ जानना नहीं चाहते. चैलेंजेस ये वाले आते हैं कि चैलेंजेस हैं, हम ही लोग आपस में चैलेंज है, हम ही लोग आपस में एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है. और प्रॉम्प्ट क्या था? प्रॉम्प्ट ये है, देखिए भाई, भोपाल में रह के मजबूरी आती है, हम सेल्स नहीं कर सकते. हम जैसे एंटरप्रेन्योर है, चाहे विजय आनंद जी हैं, चाहे निमेश हैं, अपॉइंटी में, चाहे कोई हो, हमें सेल्स नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि हम टीयर 2 सिटी में, पर हम मार्केटिंग कर सकते हैं. अगर फिलिप कॉटलर को हम डिफाइन करें कि फिलिप कॉटलर ने सेल्स मार्केटिंग कैसे डिफाइन किया है, तो उसने कहा है कि मार्केटिंग का एंटायर ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है सेल्स को जीरो करना. तो सेल्स को हम जीरो करने में लगे कि हम जाके लोगों से मिल नहीं सकते, सेल नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम लोगों को अट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं. गुड़ पे जैसे मक्खियाँ आती हैं, मक्खियों को बुला सकते हैं, हम लोगों को, क्लाइंट को बुला सकते हैं. तो ये मार्केटिंग है. मार्केटिंग हम भोपाल में रह के कर सकते हैं. तो अगर कुछ कर सकते हैं तो वो मार्केटिंग वाला काम है. हम एक SaaS प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हैं और उसको चला सकते हैं.
Thank you, Piyush ji. Guys, we would only take 10 more minutes, okay? So please be seated. Later we will do the facilitation and we would give the trophies to our chief guest and all our speakers and panelists. Please be with us for next 15 minutes and then we would be concluding our today's event. Thank you. Yeah. So to add to Piyush ji, what I have understood, that you are getting an opportunity to be part of this developer ecosystem which was not there previously. Secondly, we have startups in Bhopal. Do not aspire to go into big MNCs. I would suggest start with the startups. There you get to learn a lot. Okay, look for local startups. We have Anilji with us. He is mentioning we have 700 plus startups in Bhopal. Can you clap for them, everyone? So this is not a joke. Like, it takes a lot of courage and efforts to leave your high paying job and to start from zero. Am I right? Now let me come to Amay, who is the service design lead and UI UX designer with Appointee. So he, with his startup background, he has been an community manager at incubation. So let me ask you a question, like how do you approach designing meaningful and delightful user experiences for startups?
Um, thank you, Mayur, for having me, and thank you everyone for having the patience. I think a big round of applause to everyone who have seated here, and I think it's a big round of applause to self कि भैया इतने देर absorb कर रहे हो. So really nice. Thank you. So coming to back to the question, डिजाइनिंग ना यार बहुत मज़ेदार एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग फील्ड है. आप जितना अब्जॉर्ब कर सको, जितना सुन सको, जितना समझ सको, उससे यू गेट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है. वंस यू गेट टू अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम, यू अंडरस्टैंड कि बनाना क्या है, डिजाइन क्या करना है.
Absolutely.
उसको जब करेक्ट ब्रीफ आता है, एग्जैक्टली करेक्ट ब्रीफ आता है, देन यू गेट टू उसमें गेटिंग इनटू आइटरेशंस कि अच्छा इस तरीके से बना सकते हैं और इसके वेरिएशन कर सकते हैं. Probably then, after reiterating, after listening to the users, taking feedback, कि हाँ अच्छा है नहीं है, मज़ा आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ समझ आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है, then you get to a place कि हाँ यार पहला experience is out, कि हाँ ठीक है, and then you iterate. जब याद करो सबसे पहली बार जब नोकिया सो यूज़ किया था किसी ने यहाँ पे, नोकिया कीपैड यूजर्स, यस एक्सपीरियंस याद है. उसमें स्नेक खेलते थे अपन,
Yes.
याद है. उसके बाद अपन ने एंग्री बर्ड्स खेला अपने नए स्मार्टफोन पे, वो एक्सपीरियंस याद है. यस क्यों वो याद है, अलग था, राइट. मजा आता था, सिग्निफिकेंट टाइम नहीं आ रहा है. दैट इज ग्रेट एक्सपीरियंस. So that's my 2 cents. Yes.
Oh, thank you. So I would have another question for Kalpana ma'am. I would like a short answer from you, brief answer maybe.
Yes.
So in your opinion, what are some of the key skills and competencies that students should acquire in order to succeed in the field of AI ML, being a HOD of this domain? Yeah.
There are many skills that the student should know. What I think the first more important is probability and statistics. As all of you know, the machine learning contains all the statistical data and algorithms. So many algorithms are there. So all of you must know statistical and probability. And the second skill is just अभी किसी ने पूछा था कि ML Ops पढ़ना है लेकिन DSA से उभर ही नहीं पा रहे हैं. But the DSA is the second most important skill that you should know to learn the machine learning. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anil ji, in your experience, what are some of the challenges that you have seen that the startups are typically facing when it comes to building and scaling cloud-based products specifically? Yeah.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जब भी हम कोई क्लाउड बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट या वी कैन से SaaS प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं तो एज एन फाउंडिंग मेंबर एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज होता है टीम के लिए कि हम लोग टीम को ढूंढते हैं. सबसे पहले हमारे पास एक टीम होनी चाहिए, फिर हमारे पास प्रोडक्ट नॉलेज होना चाहिए और उसके बाद हमारे पास इस तरह के स्केलेबल प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए लाइक गूगल इज गिविंग अस लाइक गूगल क्लाउड और समथिंग. क्योंकि विदाउट स्केलेबल प्लेटफॉर्म यू कैन नॉट बिल्ड अ SaaS प्रोडक्ट बिकॉज SaaS की पावर यही है कि वो जितने लोग आते जाते हैं वो बढ़ता जाता है बढ़ता जाता है बढ़ता जाता है. और इन प्रीवियस मोड पहले सॉफ्टवेयर्स को या प्रोडक्ट्स को संभालना बहुत मुश्किल होता था. यूजिंग द क्लाउड सर्विसेज इट इज़ वेरी मच ईजी कि आप अपने क्लाउड प्रोडक्ट को ईजिली एक छोटे से इंफ्रा में एक कम कॉस्ट में भी मैनेज कर सकते हैं. सो आई थिंक क्लाउड इज द बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन फॉर देम.
Okay. Piyush, what advice would you give to all our aspiring entrepreneurs we have in this hall with a technical background. Yeah.
Mayur, I will say a couple of two things only. One, I will say the problem solving skills. देखिए गाइस, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल्स अगर आप लोग इंप्रूव करेंगे किसी भी एरिया में, ऐसा नहीं कि डीएसए करना है, लीड कोड ही करना है, उसमें 650 पजल्स हैं तो वही करूंगा मैं डीएसए के लिए. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग कहीं डेटा आपकी प्रोबेबिलिटी में भी आ सकती है, स्टैटिस्टिक्स में आ सकती है, कहीं भी आ सकती है, आपकी नॉर्मल डे टू डे लाइफ में आती है. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग इज वन. एंड सेकंड आई वुड से क्यूरियोसिटी. गाइस क्यूरियस रहिए, हर पल जीने की कोशिश करिए कि आपको जानने की कोशिश करिए. ये अगर दो चीज़ें कर लेते हैं, दीज आर द बिगेस्ट टू थिंग्स which I think are important.
Thank you. I believe this is the very key advice you should take away from this conference, that there are two things you should be learning: being curious and keep learning. Yeah. And problem solving. Okay. And finally, Ameya, can you draw some light on some of the key challenges that startup typically face when it comes to designing user experiences, and how do you suggest that, how do you address them with your own experience?
So I'll put it in two perspectives.
Okay.
जब इनिशियल स्टेज में हम स्टार्टअप कर रहे होते हैं, तब जितने भी एज ए इंक्यूबेटर, प्रीवियस इंक्यूबेटर एक्सपीरियंस, जब स्टूडेंट स्टार्टअप्स देखे थे तो एक आइडिया आया, अच्छा लगा, चले गए उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए विदाउट एक्चुअली टॉकिंग टू यूजर्स, टॉकिंग टू रियल यूजर्स कि हाँ यार वैलिडेट करो कि हाँ यार ये यूजर है, ये मुझे पैसा देगा.
Yes.
ये हम ऐसे ही चले गए कि हाँ बनाते हैं, बढ़िया टीम बनाते हैं, फंडिंग मिल जाएगी एंड वील गेट टू समथिंग. सो मिथ ब्रेकर है, नहीं होता है ऐसे अनफॉर्चुनेटली. डिज़ाइन यहाँ पे बहुत एक फाउंडर के लिए आई थिंक बहुत क्रूशियल है, जहाँ पे उसको डिज़ाइन की समझ होनी चाहिए. वाई आई से डिज़ाइन इज कि यूज़र की समझ होनी चाहिए कि कौन ऐसा यूज़र है जो मुझे पैसा देगा ताकि मैं सर्वाइव करूंगा, बिकॉज इट इज ऑन स्टार्टअप्स, राइट?
Absolutely. Yeah.
ताकि वी विल सर्वाइव, जिस भी तरीके से सर्वाइव करना है, बूटस्ट्रैप करना है, आगे फंड भी रेज करना है, बट यू विल हैव गुड यूजर्स, पेइंग यूजर्स ऑन योर प्लेटफॉर्म. मे बी फ्री में भी करना है तो दैट इज ओके, बाद में पे करेंगे, लेकिन देर आर यूजर्स ऑन योर प्लेटफॉर्म. अंडरस्टैंडिंग द राइट पेन पॉइंट इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट कि ये पेन पॉइंट है, ये इसको हम ढंग से सॉल्व कर सकते हैं विथ वट एवर टेक्नोलॉजी दैट वी कैन हैव. एक बुक है द मॉम टेस्ट, कि जब भी आपकी मम्मी आपसे कुछ सवाल पूछती है बिल्कुल पीछे लग जाती है, राइट, एंड विल गेट टू द बॉटम पार्ट कि अच्छा दिक्कत क्या है. वो एक बार पढ़िए जाके, अंडरस्टैंड दैट. स्मॉल बुक, इंटरेस्टिंग बुक. तब उसमें आई थिंक दैट कस्टमर इंटरव्यूज किस तरीके से लेने हैं, अपने प्रॉब्लम को कैसे वैलिडेट करना है, हेल्प्स. So that is one of the crucial point, and that's I see in multiple startups, not only छोटे startups but in medium-sized companies as well. Design is not just visual; it is all in the experience. So I hope I did answer the question. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you, Ameya, and all the panelists. So with this we comes to an end of this panel discussion. Let's conclude this. I just want to mention very specific point to you, like the purpose of this event and for this panel discussion is to give you some light on what industry is actually in need of. And being a student as you are, you should learn, you should be curious, keep learning, and try to get involved in the communities you see around. Not only GDG Cloud, but there are many open source communities such as WordPress, which again my co-founder is leading, Aditya. Additionally, you have CNCF, you have GDG Bhopal, you have many more communities. Okay, get involved into this. Secondly, we have a growing startup ecosystem, so that is again very much important. You should try to get internships in these startups, local startups. Try to upskill as much as you can. By the end of your 4th year, you should be at a pace, at a level with the people and the students of other cities, I would say. Additionally, we are pushing hard. We have discussed with the government representatives also, like how we can include this key trending skills into your curriculum itself. If that happens, then eventually it will be a great help to you yourself also. Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, not. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the panelists?
Thank you for an immensely informative panel discussion, sir and ma'am. I'm sure that this is going to help the attendees one way or another. Thank you. As we're towards the end of Cloud Community Days Bhopal 2023, it's time to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to all the speakers and panelists who have delivered an address and shared their insights and knowledge to the attendees present here, as well as the ones present online. To express our appreciation, we would like to present each of our speakers and guests with a small memento as a token of our gratitude. We hope that this memento would serve as a reminder of the great contribution that you have made to the success of this event. For the same, I'd request Mr. Lavi Nigam, Mr. Jitendra Gupta, Mr. Vishal, Mr. Sanket, Dr. Kalpana, Mr. Amya, Mr. Vijay, Mr. Piyush to kindly come up on the stage along with our organizers, Mr. Aditya and Mr. Mayur Rathi. I'd request Mr. Mayur to kindly present the memento to Mr. Jitendra Gupta. I'd request Mr. I'd request Mr. Aditya to please present the memento to Mr. Vishal. I request Mr. Aditya to kindly present the memento to Mr. Sanket. Thank you. I request Mr. Mayur to kindly present the memento to Mr. Vishal. Thank you. I'd request Mr. Mayur Rathi to kindly present the memento to Dr. Kalpana Rai. Thank you. I'd request Mr. Aditya to kindly present the memento to Mr. Amaya. Thank you. I'd request Mr. Mayur to kindly present the memento to Mr. Vijay Anand Saxena. Thank you. Last but not the least, I'd request Mr. Aditya to kindly present the memento to Mr. Piyush Sahu. Thank you. Sir and ma'am, your presence and contributions have made Cloud Community Day Bhopal 2023 an enriching experience for all of us. Once again, we thank you to all the speakers and the guests for making this Cloud Community Day 2023 an event to remember. We hope that you have enjoyed the day as much as we have, and we look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thank you.
नहीं भैया आपने ये पूछा ये आप सबके लिए ना
I now request Mr. Aditya Shah, organizer, GDG Cloud Bhopal, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
हाय, मज़ा आया? किसको नहीं आया? किसको नहीं आया? सबको आया ऐसा लग रहा है. चलो नाइस. So now that we are around the end of the event, it's time to thank everyone's effort to make Cloud Community Days a grand success. I would want to thank all of our attendees for coming to this event. I would also like to thank our chief guest, Mr. Manu Srivastav, Additional Chief Secretary, Technical Education. I would also like to thank our guest of honor who couldn't really join us this time, but he was about to, Mr. Sunil Jain, National Informatics Center, Deputy Director General. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Mr. Abhishek Sharma, Ashok Vishwakarma, Anubhav Singh, Lavi Nigam, Harsh Dattani, Ankit Patel, Sanket Visne, Vishal Chalotre, and Jitendra Gupta. Thank you. I would also like to thank all of our panelists, Dr. Kalpana Rai, Vijayanand Saxena, Mr. Ame Piyush Shah. Last but not the least, I would like to thank whole of my team for day and night efforts for months. Like we have been planning this event for months, like 2 to 3 months. And I think that we have made a lot of contributions and a lot of efforts. So I would like to mention everyone. First of all, let me mention my co-organizer, Mr. Mayur Rathi. Join me on stage. Astha Jain, Sumit Yadav, Dipali, Akshita, Rishish, Vansh, Arpit, Aman, Shruti, Shivam. शिवम बहुत थक गया है नो आजा फटाफट प्रणय नॉट टू फॉरगेट आपने वो टिकट देखा होगा ना एनिमेशन वाला बढ़िया सा प्रणय वाज द वन हु मेड इट एंड पर्व जो इतने अच्छे अच्छे डिजाइन देख रहे थे ना पोस्टर्स देख रहे थे एंड आपने बहुत सारे डिजाइन इधर देखे होंगे ये बैनर्स एंड लाइक what all branding that we did. This is the guy. सारे सोशल मीडिया जो हैंडल कर रही थी अक्षिता, our content writer Dipali, Aman for the last so हमने एक वीडियो पोस्ट किया था if you have seen. Aman was the guy. सुबह सुबह आप लोगों ने रंगोली देखी होगी अक्षिता was one. Dipali also. And Astha, not to forget, have made immense effort to make this great. Like every time जब हम stuck हो जाते थे किसी जगह पे या फिर हम कभी ढूंढ रहे होते थे कि इसको कैसे अच्छे से बोलें या किसको अपन जो हमको ग्रामर समझ में नहीं आती थी जब हमारे सेंटेंस फॉर्म नहीं हो रहे होते थे या हमको कुछ वेरीफाई करना होता था. Everything done by Astha. By the way, she is my sister. And where's Shashank? Shashank, जो अभी तक स्टेज पे भी नहीं आया है. Behind the stage, behind the lens. So आप लोगों के जो फोटोज वगैरह वो आ गया कैमरे के साथ शशांक. Great work, शशांक. किसी को मैं भूला हूं क्या? वंश भाई वंश ने बहुत एफर्ट्स किए कि हमारे इवेंट के लिए एक स्पॉन्सर्स लाए एंड एक्चुअली ही गॉट सम बट देन हमारे पास टाइम की इतनी कमी थी ना कि हम अच्छे से कुछ प्लान कर ही नहीं पाए को लेके. सो या इसलिए आपको स्पॉन्सर्स नहीं दिखे बट ही एक्चुअली मेड लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स. So claps for him. और किसी को नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. All good. And Shivam, not to forget him. Everything that I wanted, आधी रात को 2 बजे मैं इसको फोन करता था, भाई मेरे को ये चाहिए, आई डोंट नो हाउ। ये भोपाल में भी नहीं था बहुत दिन, और इसने सारे काम मुझे 2 बजे रात को करवा के दिए। थैंक यू। एंड वेयर इज रंजीत? Not to forget Ranjit, he was also there, roaming here and there. Actually, Sumit also. Sumit Vidhani. So, हम लोगों को लास्ट क्लास में ना इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स हुई थी ना कि भाई ये फ्लेक्स उठाना है, इधर से ये करना है, उधर से वो करना है, ये अरेंजमेंट वो अरेंजमेंट। उसके बीच में भाई ने अपना एक्सीडेंट भी कर लिया, बट ये उसके बाद भी तुरंत आया, उसने अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी छोड़ी नहीं। ग्रेट एफर्ट्स, थैंक यू। So I would like to thank each and every one. I guess I have thanked almost everyone. If I forget, and thank you all for coming.
And thanks to Aditya, जो website तुमने experience किया end to end, all the efforts were of Aditya and Shivam. अरे पूरा event का नहीं, specifically website, like the experience we wanted to give you, I think you are having a great experience, yes or no? मैंने माना कि थोड़ा ग्लिच हो गया था टिकट में, रिफंड आ जाएगा, नहीं आया है तो टेंशन मत लेना, पैसा मिलेगा। बट द एक्सपीरियंस वी वांटेड टू गिव यू एज अ अंडरग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट ऑफ भोपाल, वी वेर ऑल्सो स्टूडेंट वंस, बट वी वांटेड टू एक्सपीरियंस व्हाट आर टेक्निकल इवेंट्स, क्या होता है सोसाइटी में, कैसे कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होते हैं आपके आसपास। यू शुड ऑलवेज कीप चेकिंग, इंस्टाग्राम चलाओ लेकिन लिंक्डइन भी चलाओ। यू गॉट माई पॉइंट? ट्विटर भी चलाना है और वेबसाइट्स भी सर्च करना है कि कहाँ पे क्या टेक्निकल चीज होने वाली है। वी वेर हैविंग 3000 प्लस रजिस्ट्रेशन इंटरेस्ट, बट हमारे पास भी एक कैप था, शायद ये आधे लोगों का इवेंट होता, बट वी इंसिस्टेड आवर डेवरल टीम एट गूगल हु रियली सपोर्टेड अस, एंड वी वेर एबल टू कन्विंस देम कि हमको 600 पीपल का ही कराना है। एंड वी आर प्लानिंग अ ग्रेट इवेंट इन नियर फ्यूचर, सो प्लीज बी इन टच, हमारे सारे सोशल मीडिया चैनल पे कनेक्टेड रहना, ठीक है? सो वी विल कीप यू अपडेटेड एंड रेस्ट अश्योर्ड वी विल बी और होस्टिंग रेगुलर मीटअप्स, तो उसमें भी आपको सबको आना है, यस और नो? एंड वी विल बी कंटिन्यूसली रिलीजिंग पोल्स ऑल्सो कि आपको किस टॉपिक्स पे टेक्निकल सेशन चाहिए, वी कैन कॉल अपॉन गेस्ट एक्सपर्ट्स, तो वो भी मैनेजेबल है।
Last thing that I want to mention is that ये community हमारी है, हम सबकी है, सिर्फ हम दोनों की नहीं है। हम दोनों ऑर्गेनाइजर्स हैं, लीड्स हैं जो इसको मैनेज कर रहे हैं, बट ये कम्युनिटी आप सबकी भी है। सो व्हाट आई वांट कि आप लोग भी यू कम फॉरवर्ड, टेक इनिशिएटिव्स कि भाई हमको ये करना है या हमको इस चीज की नीड है, वी वांट एक्सपर्ट लेक्चर्स ऑन दिस, वी वांट वर्कशॉप्स ऑन दिस, वी वांट हैकाथॉन्स ऑन दिस, और कैन आई ऑर्गेनाइज दिस? We appreciate if you come forward to do something.
And we have people right here. She was sitting in the audience last year. Now she is a volunteer. Maybe she will become organizer next year. Who knows?
I think that ends our event. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Let's take a group. Not to forget, एक ग्रुप फोटो करते हैं। एंड इफ यू रिमेंबर वी हैड क्विजेस, वी हैड सोशल मीडिया कैंपेन्स, सो लेट्स जस्ट टेक अ ग्रुप फोटो एंड then we'll proceed to the gifts.
Do. I request the crew to kindly So as promised, there are certain surprises awaiting for some people in the audience. We have the names here and we have the swags besides. So I'm going to call upon the stage the winners. Uh, yeah. Apurv Baghel. Do we have Apurv Baghel here? Next in line, we have Abhishek Malviya. Please come near the stage. Abhishek Malviya, kindly come near the stage. I request the organizers to be here to felicitate, to provide the swags to the award winner. Yeah. Congratulations, Apurv. Abhishek Malviya. Do we have Abhishek Malviya here? Okay. Till the time Abhishek is here, I would like to call upon Aviral Gupta. Do we have Aviral Gupta here? Next in line, we have Kushagra Srivastav. Kushagra Srivastav. Next in line, we have Sudhanshu Ranjan. Sudhanshu Ranjan. Do we have Sudhanshu here? I just repeat the names. If anybody is here, kindly come near the stage. Abhishek Malviya, Aviral Gupta, Kushagra Srivastav, Sudhanshu Ranjan. Congratulations, Abhishek. I would like to call upon the stage Mehek Rathi. Mehek Rathi. Kindly come upon the stage. Congratulations, Mehek. Before we proceed further, there's a small activity. Um, it's just the winner announcement, the winner finalization for that matter. So just wait for a moment.
Okay. So if you remember, we had a social media campaign that we announced earlier, right? Remember? So we were posting on social media, making hashtags trend. So now what we're gonna do is we'll be running through all of the posts and we'll be picking up the posts randomly. So let's see who is the lucky one. Cool? Let's do it. Full connector. सबके पोस्ट दिख रहे हैं? कोई है जिसका नहीं दिख रहा है? One, two, three, go. What is it doing? This one? No. Rohit? No. Aman? No. Athar? No. Urvi? No. Athar? What's that? Aftade. Aftade. Who's the one? Athar. Do we have Athar in the house? Not Kulkarni. Not so lucky. Next one. Urvi? No. Pratap? No. Abhishek? Sir. Who's the one? सब निकल गए. Next one. Last one. Last. Are you the lucky one? प्रताप पवार, ये जितने सिलेक्ट हो रहे हैं कोई है नहीं यहाँ? यार आने की तैयारी करो, उठो। रोहित राथिया।
Finally, we have our social media influencer.
So finally, we have Aviral Gupta here. I just request the organizers to kindly present him with the award. Congratulations, Aviral. As we come to an end, there are certain things which I would like to tell the audience. Number one, there is a feedback form that has been circulated to you all. Kindly fill it. Then we have the swags for all the attendees, which would be available in the reception outside. Kindly, before leaving, collect these swags, but please maintain your patience while you're collecting these swags, considering the number of people we have here. Apart from that, there are snacks. There are snacks upstairs. So before again leaving, kindly proceed to have your snacks. So again, I have an idea for you all. You all may, divide yourselves, and some of you can collect the swags first, and others may go on to have the snacks first. Your discretion. Apart from it, before leaving, thank you for joining. Thank you.